How's it going, guys? It is Fake Thriller, and today we are here to talk about the topic that has been on everybody's mind when it comes to the latest patch in Battlefield 3, and that is the attack choppers. It's probably the biggest change that hit me the most, because flying the choppers and doing really well in an entire match and communicating with my gunner is probably one of the more enjoyable things that I like to do in Battlefield 3. So when they took away the gunner's flares, I thought it was bye-bye, done, time to not play with choppers anymore. But before we get into everything, you are watching some chopper gameplay on Albor's Mountain. It's called Albor's Mountain, not Arclay Mountains, which is from Resident Evil. But I call it Arclay Mountains in the back of my mind. That's sort of how I remember it. Anyway, so what they did was they took the chopper gunner's flares away. So what that means is pretty straightforward. Is all it's going to take is 2 stingers to put you down, and it is pretty grim right now for helicopter pilots. I'm not going to lie. If people want to get you out of the sky, you're out of the sky. It's not an option. It's not a matter of opinion. If people are dedicated and they're looking to take you down, they're going to take you down. And frankly, that's the way it was before. But we're not here to debate what could have been. We're here to talk about how it is and what we can do from here on out. Now, I'm going to go over a loadout that I found to probably work the best. You can make some changes here and there, but I'll pretty much go through each one and we can talk about it just a little bit. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is the first pilot upgrade, and you should have air radar. Your only other options in that are maintenance, laser painter, guided rocket, or stealth autoloader. All these things. Okay, proximity scan you don't need. Autoloader, you don't. You know, if you aim well, you don't need it. Stealth, you don't need because your gunner's going to have that. Hint. Guided rocket, you do not need because you're just going to take your time and aim. And laser painter, you're not going to be designating that many targets because you're not up in the sky to designate things. And maintenance, I honestly feel like if you have air radar, it's just flat out more useful than maintenance. So for your first upgrade, go with air radar. It helps in those chopper fights. It helps with jets, and it'll actually help with the AC-130 and stuff like that. The second one is your choice between flares, extinguisher, or ECM jammer, and this is an easy choice. It is ECM jammer all the way, and we'll talk about exactly the way the ECM behaves and the way you should be using it in just a minute. To round it out, the only other thing in your options, if you want to call it that, is the heat seekers. Obviously, you're going to have that as a pilot. So going back to the ECM jammer and the way it's going to work, DICE modified the ECM's behavior. So now it doesn't need to be deployed before a missile is fired. You want to do it in that sweet spot of right after the missile is locked on and fired, but obviously before it hits. And what's going to happen is you're going to send out that chaff cloud that comes out of your chopper. And this is sort of a process that you're going to want to pay attention to. When you're getting locked, your goal is to dive low to the ground. And it's not to use below radar because that's clearly broken. It is to deflect any of these rockets that are chasing you, because so you're going to get locked on, they're going to fire. The second you are getting locked, you want to dive low. And you'll see me do it. You might not be able to hear it in this video because I got the game sounds turned down. But you get low. And actually right there, of course, I just get hit. But luckily me and Snoof runaway chopper. So you're flying low. You're diving low while they're locking. They fire. You blow your ECM. Creates the chaff cloud. And now these missiles go screaming around you. You've probably seen it where the missiles act really weird. And they do like this weird ring around the rosy thing on the chopper. The thing is those can still hit you, and they will if you're still in the sky. If you're low enough to the ground or close enough to something else for them to collide with, they'll hit that, and then you'll be fine. And then obviously your next, main priority is to get the hell away from whoever's locking you. And it works for the most part. It's a decent strategy. However, it's like I said before, if people want you down, if you got 2 stingers on you, you get a jet and a stinger combo, or in this case, like what just took me down in LAV, you're going to go down. Look at how far away this guy is. And he was locking on with this anti-air crap. So, you know, I'm not going to talk about the change they made. We're just going to deal with what we have. Let's move on to the gunner position. After we go over the gunner position, we'll sort of talk about just general tactics and the way, you know, you can sort of struggle to keep yourself up in the sky. The first option you have as the gunner is actually, I think there's quite a few to choose from. It's the same as the first slot in the pilot upgrade. It's stealth, auto loader, proximity scan, maintenance, or nothing. You'd be a fool to put nothing. Personally, I've found stealth to be helpful, and it's for the following reason. You need as much time to get away from stingers or other locking devices as possible. So the stealth isn't going to help you with the initial one. You're not necessarily going to know someone's looking at you in a stinger, because by the time you hear the tone that they're locking, you've already used up your little stealth perk, and they are currently locking you. But if you can deflect that first missile, it's going to take that much longer for them to lock onto you again, and that might be the split second you need to get away, because that's the name of the game. It's turn, tail, and run, to be perfectly honest. The second option is a pretty simple one. This is more personal preference. It's between zoom optics or thermal optics, and it's up to your gunner or how you feel when you're in the gunner position. I personally see thermal optics as being more useful, just because if you have people on the ground locking onto you with stingers and you just need to find them, sometimes the difference between life and death is killing the stinger launcher or not killing the stinger launcher. So I feel like thermal optics will help you more often, as where zoom optics, if you're far enough away from your target that you need zoom optics, you're going to have a hard time hitting them anyway. So in my expert opinion, go with thermal optics, but it's up to you. The last one is another coin toss, depending on what you want to do. It's between the guided missile or the TV missile. And this is going to come down to personal preference, and to be honest, it's going to come down to skill. If you're good with the TV missile and you understand how to use it, it can be devastating, because it can one-shot tanks and all these little, whatever they call Sputnik things that are running around, and LAVs and stuff like that. You can even take out infantry, and you can end a chopper fight like that. The second you hit them with a TV missile, and you can hit them from well out of lock-on range, so that's nice. However, the more reliable choice is guided missile, and guided missile is what everybody knows. It can lock onto ground vehicles without laser designation, and it usually is a very devastating 1-2 punch from the gunner when you hit him with a guided missile, and then as the chopper swoops in over your target, you light him up with the cannon. And that works really well. So this, to be perfectly honest, I think to be most consistent, you're going to want the guided missile. But to be truly effective, like the most possible effect you can make on the battlefield, if you're going to hit every shot you fired with a TV missile, then that would be the choice to go. So, and obviously do whatever you want, mix it up, see what works best. It might be good for TV missiles on Firestorm, but better for guided missiles on some other map, depending on the layout and where enemies tend to group up. In this Albor's Mountain one, I think the TV missile might be best, because there are mountains concealing the approach of LAVs and these little tanks and stuff. It could be very hard for the gunner to obtain a lock long enough to fire and have a direct line in which the missile can travel to kill your target. So, now that we've got your ideal setup, we're going to sort of talk about overall play style and the best way to be effective yet at the same time stay alive, because you're not really being that effective if you're trading your attack chopper for a light tank. And the name of the game, as I said before, is turn tail and run. You can get up and you can get aggressive when people don't have anything to lock onto you with, if they're trying with RPGs and stuff, or if they're trying to just shoot you out, or even if they're just in a light tank and they're taking shots at you with their main cannon. That is a risk worth taking, because for the most part you're going to be able to destroy them, especially now where the chopper gunners weapons have been buffed against infantry. You should be able to take them out rather effectively. However, you're gonna need to run the second you start getting locked on, and you got to get a feel for how the battlefield is going. If you notice people are noticing you and they want to take you down, then it might be best to hover back, and this is going to sound really lame, but hover back over your initial spawn and take long shots with TV missiles and the pilot's missiles. Just see if you can start filing some covering fire in on the proper objective or something like that. As for planes and other choppers and stuff like that, you got to be very careful now with your ECM jammer, and this sort of goes along with just general awareness. You have one ECM jammer, that is what is keeping you alive for 10 seconds at a time. So if you have a jet that's taking swipes at you, you need to do your best to realize how far out this jet's going and how fast he's going, because anybody who knows, anybody who's flown a jet and has been trying to take out a helicopter with heat seekers knows that you have to go so far out and you have to come back so slow in order to actually gain a lock and fire. So what happens a lot, and I've been a victim of this, of my own stupidity, jets will turn around and they'll take swipes at me and they'll start the locking process, and I'll burn my ECM just as they're flying past, and I sort of realize as I burn my ECM and as they're passing that they had no hope of even firing on me with those missiles. So, and then next thing you know, somebody else is locking onto you once your ECM is done being active, and you're done. So general awareness is huge, and holding on to that ECM until the last possible moment. And like I said in the beginning, you can wait until the rocket is in flight now, and hopefully you'll be in a position to where you can sort of juke around and cause the missile to lose track of you or hit a building or something like that. So it's not the end of the world. You can see Snooze firing the TV missile and stuff like that. It's not the end of the world for choppers. It is really, really sad. I'm not exactly sure whether DICE plans on fixing the below radar thing, or if we'll see a buff. But to be perfectly honest, we're not going to see a patch for a long time, so we need to get used to the way it is now. And the chopper is, rest in peace, chopper of close quarters and back to Karkand. It was a great time, but now it's going to be tough. Even, to be honest, even helicopter fights, when you're both squaring off against each other, a lot of times that leaves you both in such terrible condition that, yeah, one person gets the double kill and the other chopper's out of the sky, but the chopper that won the fight is at 19% health, and he's disabled and screaming towards the ground. It's just the nature of the beast now that you don't have second wave of countermeasures. So I'll tell you what, guys, just to give you Xbox players and PC players that want to see some more chopper gameplay, I'll let this run out. It's going to run for about another 4 minutes, and you can sort of see us just flying around, get a feel for the map. One thing map specific to this Arklay Mountain map is you need to be super careful when you're flying a chopper. You see all those pine trees? Yeah, they don't fuck around. They will take you down in one hit. You can't get that low. I've learned the hard way, you can't be aggressive as you would be on Oman or on Caspian border and stuff like that. These trees are not invisible. They are all 100% solid all the way to the tip, and they will put you into the ground. So be careful and fly safe. And if you guys have any other tips, I would love to hear them in the comments below, because us chopper pilots need to stick together and I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. So, thanks for watching the video, guys. If you could do me a favor and leave a thumbs up, and I'll love you long time. Peace out.